Good morning, boys and girls. So, we are going to continue with using comparative adjectives today, and we are going to focus on good and bad. So, obviously, these are words that we use all the time, but we're just going to talk about how to use them correctly. So, let's look at what our little cheat sheet says. The adjectives good and bad are irregular adjectives. So, just to remind you what that means, an irregular adjective means that it doesn't follow the usual rules. So, for example, we do not say something is gooder and we don't say something is badder. Those are not words that we should be using in the English language. So, because they don't follow our normal rules, they are irregular adjectives. To form their comparative and superlative forms, do not add er or est endings or use the word more or most. So we also don't say something is more good or most good, and we don't say something is more bad or most bad. The chart below shows you which form of good and bad to use. So our adjective is good, that's just our normal word. To compare it to something, we would use the word better. So we would say chocolate is better than vanilla. And the superlative is saying that chocolate is the best candy in the world. I'm comparing it to all the other millions of types of candies that are out there, and I'm saying chocolate is the best. Now let's look at bad. Bad is our adjective. If we're comparing something, we would say worse. So I would say white chocolate is worse than dark chocolate. And if I'm talking about it in superlative form, meaning I'm comparing it to more than one thing, I would say white chocolate is the worst candy in the world because it is. Wild strawberries are good, but wild blackberries are better, and wild raspberries are the best. So let's just take a quick look at what this sentence is doing. The first portion, I'm just making a statement. I'm not making any kind of comparison. Wild strawberries are good. That's it. That's my opinion. In the second section, I'm making a comparison. So I'm using a comparative adjective. But while blackberries are better, meaning that blackberries are better than strawberries, and now I'm making a superlative statement. Wild raspberries are the best, meaning that they're better than blackberries and strawberries. So I'm comparing one thing with two other things, meaning I need to use the superlative form, and the superlative form of good is best. Okay, let's take a look at numbers 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. Once again, just bear with me while I'm writing because you guys know I'm super terrible at it. So let's look what our directions say. Look at the underlined word in each sentence. If it is correct, write C on the line. If it is incorrect, write the correct form of good or bad. So we're going to read the sentence first. If it's correct, we're just going to put a C. And if it's incorrect, then we're going to put the correct form of good or bad. Many people traveled west because they wanted a best life. Now, all we need to do is read this sentence out loud to decide that it really doesn't sound correct to us, right? They don't want a best life, they want a better life. So our answer here is going to be better. How we should be reading this sentence is that they're comparing the life that they currently have right now to a future life that they want. So we're comparing one thing to one other thing, which means we're using the comparative form of good, which is better. Number 2, which is worst, keeping a small farm or working hard to start a new farm? Well, I'm comparing one thing to one other thing, which means I need to use the comparative form. And if you could see right here, the comparative form is worse. So this one is also not correct. So we're going to write worse on the line instead of worst. Also, when you read the sentence out loud, it just doesn't sound right. Which is worst? Keeping a small farm or working hard to start a new farm? Which is worse? Keeping a small farm or working hard to start a new farm? Worse sounds better because it is actually correct. Now for 5 through 8, we're going to circle the word that correctly completes the sentence. School children tried to earn good or best scores on their test. So we're not making a comparison in this sentence. All we're saying is a statement. What kind of scores did they try to earn? They tried to earn good scores. So for number 6, our answer is good. Number 7, the farmer's worst fear was there would be a drought. So we're comparing the farmer's fear to every other fear on the planet, which means we need to use the superlative form because we're comparing things, more than one thing, to more than one other thing. Okay? If you have any questions about page 284, please ask in Google Classroom. Okay, so let's take a look at page 285. It is the second page that you're going to be doing today, and it is not difficult, I promise. So we're going to be comparing with adverbs. So we originally had just been comparing with adjectives, which are words that describe nouns, and now we're going to be comparing with adverbs, which are words that describe verbs. You can compare the way that actions are done. To compare two actions, form a comparative adverb by using the word more before the adverb. To compare three or more actions, form a superlative adverb by using the word most. So for this one, all you're doing is either adding more or most in front of the already existing adverb. Karina's calf ran more gracefully than she had run yesterday. Our adverb is gracefully. Remember, when we're talking about adverbs, a lot of the time they end in ly, and we're comparing how she ran one day with how she ran another day. So we're just using more. Maddie's horse ran the most gracefully of all the horses on the field. So once again, our adverb is gracefully. We're comparing how Maddie's horse ran to all of the other horses. So we need to use the superlative form, which is most. So for this one, we're not changing the adverb at all. So you're not going to say gracefully or gracefully est. You're going to say more gracefully or most gracefully. So let's look at 1 and 2 here, and I'll do 5 and 6 here. Let me just pull it down so that I can use my pen. Okay, so for number 1, our directions say circle the adverb in each sentence, write C on the line if it is a comparative adverb, write S if it is a superlative adverb. Let me make this very, very simple for you. If it is a comparative adverb, the word in front of the adverb is going to be more. If it is a superlative adverb, the word in front of the adverb is going to be most. That is all you need to look at, okay? So let's underline our adverb for number 1, which is carefully. What word comes before carefully? The word is more. That means this is a comparative adverb. So let's just read the whole sentence. People traveled more carefully along the trails than they did on the flat prairies. I am comparing how people traveled on the trails compared to how they traveled on the prairies. That is one thing to one thing. I'm just making an easy comparison. I use a comparative adverb phrase, so more carefully. Number 2, pioneers looked for water most eagerly when they were near a desert. So my adverb is eagerly. Remember, we're looking for the word that ends in ly. For 3 and 4, you're looking for the words that end in ly. You're going to underline them, and then you decide whether it is a comparative adverb or a superlative adverb. Once again, if it is a comparative adverb, it has the word more in front of it. If it is a superlative adverb, it has the word most in front of it. So this says most eagerly. That means this is a superlative adverb, and we're going to put S on the line. For numbers 5 and 6, let's take a look at our directions. Write the correct form of the adverb in parentheses, superlative and happily. What did I say previously? Superlative means that we have the word most in front of it. This is going to take me a while because there are a lot of words here. Most, my adverb is happily, so I'm going to write happily on the line. Okay, not horrible. Children played most happily when they felt safe. Remember, most is your superlative form. Now let's look at number 6, comparative and restfully. Comparative means we're putting the word more restfully. Why couldn't they use short words? They're just trying to mess me up. Okay. The adults slept more restfully in a cabin. That's it. So let's just go over this one more time. When we're talking about the superlative form, we are using the word most. When we're talking about the comparative form, we're using the word more. If you guys have any questions, please ask in Google Classroom.